Welcome to Present Poetry, a podcast where we sit back, relax, and enjoy some poets of the past and present. I'm your host, Erin Crittenden, and before we get started on this week's episode, I want to remind you that all of the material used in this podcast is either public domain or used with permission from the author or the author's estate. It's a fun time for all ages, so sit back, relax, and get ready to hear this week's featured poet. This week's featured poet is Vibha Chauhan. Vibha S. Chauhan is the former principal of Kirori College, University of Delhi, and she has also taught English for more than 3 decades at Zakir Husain Delhi College, University of Delhi. She is a translator, writer, critic, and cultural activist that works in 3 languages: English, Hindi, and Bhojpuri. Her novel, Ganga Jamuna Beech, experiments with the Hindi language. We are reading a few of her poems that she submitted through the forum at presentpoetry.com. This poem is called Starting a Revolution. Search out that rare moment. Do nothing. Let limbs obey gravity and hearts, for a change, lazily pump drowsy blood around. Wipe off the mind of all lines, dots, figures, charts. Just let go. Allow the moment of stasis, unseen, invisible, to sink in, to enter, bodiless, like a dream. It is then, at the drop of a moment, that you will feel the unborn bubbles popping and subterranean tremors agitating smooth surfaces just before boiling over. Curled up, hibernating within this moment of stasis, gasping, quivering, to strike root and push itself out into leaves, lies revolution, waiting to spread out in spaces that stillness creates. This poem is called Menopause. It has its benefits, this penultimate stage, when the bloody prison breaks down, liberating us from what we had always accepted as inevitable. This poem is called Snow. It swamps all difference, all reds, yellows, green, that could have challenged its supreme whiteness, like protesters against codes, modes, regulations that fall tentatively, softly, like snow, only to harden like granite under generations of footfalls. This poem is called Writer's Block. With outstretched skeleton arms stand the naked trees, like poems without words, seeking divine inspiration for words, sounds, image, color, to sprout from dormant nodules covered with flaking skin. Nostalgia for creation, recreation, and reproduction runs through frigid nerves, like sluggish blood heavy with age, forcing the chambers of a tired heart to break into convulsions sharp with pain that loneliness and memory brings. Hopeless like death, but for the spasms of loss that preserved through frozen winter would stretch out of hibernation till the reluctant sap carrying the invisible life breaks through, promising fecundity. This poem is called Surrendering to River Sindhu. I had gone to touch the sky and wet my hair, with dew dripping from the eye stretched over the Himalayas. I had imagined the challenging peaks, with relentless fronts, hard, rocky, ancient, as invincible and supreme. Yet they too, I saw, embedded in the leafy gorge, woed by sinuous Sindhu as it swirled around the obstinate, erect rocks. It scraped away the rigidity, gently pounding it into dust, much like the powdered pollen that hoards the fecundity released from spring flowers. Floating on the swelling Sindhu, the flinty dust accompanies it faithfully till journey's end, to the cosmic mystique of infinite ocean to give up all. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Present Poetry Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, feel free to like us, leave a review, or share us on social media. If you are a poet or you know someone who is, we would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us or submit your work through our website, which is www.present-poetry.com. Again, that is www.present-poetry.com. We can't wait to hear from you.